Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Sales Mastery TV. I am your host, Chadi Bazzi, a real estate coach and trainer, and I'm on a mission to help you master the art of selling so you can take more listings than you are right now, sell more homes much faster than you ever have, work less, and build a business by design. A business you absolutely love that gives you the money, time, and freedom that you deserve. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hey there, everyone. It's Chadi Bazzi here with Real Estate Success Mastery TV podcast. And thank you very much for tuning in to another episode. This is going to be a special episode for you. A lot of you have recently said, hey, Chadi, it's been a while since you've done an interview style episode. And you're right. So we will be releasing more interview episodes, and we're going to kick it off again with an amazing, top producing real estate professional. His name is Sohail, and we're going to share a lot of nuggets, with you. So make sure that you are taking a ton of notes. And if you're driving around listening to this podcast, I will go ahead and put some notes for you in the show notes at shadibazzi.com. So make sure you go there and check them out. So without further ado, Mr. Sohail, tell everyone who you are, where you work, etc. Take it away.
Yeah, hey everybody, how are you? My name is Sohail Salahuddin, and I'm a real estate broker here in Chicago. And I work with a company called At Properties, which is based out of Chicago. And also they open up offices in Michigan and Indiana. Very fast, younger company, but very quickly growing into a huge company.
Awesome. So just so we can go ahead and set the tone and give people a real purpose as to why they ought to listen to this episode, let's just begin by telling people, what are you on track for this year? How many transactions are you on track to close this year? Yeah,
this year it should be on track between 75 and 100.
Okay. So on track to do 75 transactions to 100 transactions. So guys, we finally got your attention. Okay. So, and I wanted to do that because I know Sohail personally, and, we've come to know each other personally. We've been working with each other, for quite a while now, and he's come a long way, and he's going to share a lot of good nuggets. So I definitely wanted to, throw that hook there. So Sohail, why don't you tell everybody how long you've been selling real estate?
Really, well, it's been on and off. I mean, I transitioned into different aspects of the real estate market, but really just brokering, for clients, it's really been since 2011, beginning of 2012 is when I really started digging into it. Okay. That's when I met Chadi.
So we're talking about a good, 2.5, 3 years, et cetera.
About 3 years ago is when I just started to get into just strictly brokerage.
Okay.
Before I was doing a lot of rentals. I mean, we were very, very successful with the rental market, and I did some sales, but from 2007, 2008 to 2011 in the Chicagoland market, rentals were, I was making a couple $100,000 a year just doing rentals. So
wow,
I didn't really have to do any sales, and they were quick and easy money. The market has changed, but I used to run myself ragged. I mean, I worked nonstop because that's how rentals worked over here in Chicago. I was focused on making $500. So now I'm focused on making, $5,000 to $50,000.
Right. The reason I'm laughing is because you said I was focused on making $500 of transactions, because I remember having so many conversations with you on, how do we start thinking about making $5,000, 10x, your average commission check, and you really had a hard time with that for a while.
Really hard time.
So how did you go through that transition of, because you were making, 6 figures.
Oh yeah.
And you just wanted to transition to the other side of the business. I mean, how did you go through that transition? How did you overcome that thinking, et cetera?
You used to beat into my head, and it took you a lot, and it took me a lot for me to realize it. I think probably the best thing I started to realize and tell myself is, you used to tell me what I focus on expands, or you get what you focus on. Mm-hmm. And I started saying, man, I'm so focused on $500. That's why I'm getting the $500, $1,000 commissions. Yeah. I need to focus on trying to make $5,000.
Yeah.
And so it was just really changing the way I thought about things, changing my mindset.
Okay, changing your mindset. Okay.
Right.
And you know what? One of the things about the way that I do interviews, I obviously, just like to go with the flow, no script, none of that stuff. And now that you've hit, the mindset aspect, I personally believe that that is the biggest hurdle for most people. And I see a lot of people struggle with really adopting the right mindset in order for them to really take their life and their business to the next level. Was it easy for you to adopt the right mindset, or was this like a something that you had to work on? And how long did you work on it for?
Uh, oh, God. Well, I mean, I really didn't get it. It took me about 6 months just to start to realize that it was just everything was in my head.
Hmm.
I know you told me every phone call that we had, right? Every
Yeah,
coaching call, but it took me about 6 months for me to realize that I have to be more confident in myself.
yeah,
I have to learn skill set. I have to stop worrying about, it's also, I think the law of attraction.
yeah.
So I was coming from a place of desperation rather than a place of abundancy.
Right.
I was so desperate to try and make some money because I thought about my family,
Yeah,
my expenses, how I'm going to pay my bills. And so for me, a rental was quick money. But, as you know, I work with 20 clients for rentals and one or two would close.
yeah.
They're not loyal.
So it
And
was always a short-term fix for you, and not
sure,
like something to set up like a legacy or a long-term business.
yes, yeah. And that's it. I think that's it. I was coming from a place of desperation rather than a place of abundancy.
Got it. So what were some of the things just on the mindset side and not the skill side? What were some of the things that you personally did, day in, day out, etc., to, sharpen your mind? What were some of the things that you did?
Definitely, role playing, learning from Chadi taught me NLP. And, I shouldn't say even taught me. He just taught me a little bit because it's not like I knew a lot. I just took a little bit that I had, and that little bit made a huge difference in the way that I communicated with people.
Right, right.
Also, being committed to making to prospecting, to
Right.
making my calls. I can't tell you how many times people would say, "Why are you calling me?" And I would get so scared. I didn't know what to say, or I'd ask questions that are going to give me a yes or no answer, instead of questions that start with a what, who, why, what, when, and where, that are going to get the person on the line to think and get them into conversation mode. God, I could talk about this forever because there's so much going through, and there's so much that I'm still realizing. But it's really the way you talk to people, the approach that you're coming from, rather than thinking I got to try and get a listing. You have to really find out what their problem is first.
Yeah.
Once you find out their problem, then you know how to solve it, and you can then lead the conversation to where you want it to be, to get them to say yes for the appointment.
Right. So that's part of the qualifying. We're gonna come back and talk all about that. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back. Okay, just the mind. Okay, you have a routine in place, certain things that you do every single day to sharpen your mind. What do you
Yep.
do? What do you suggest that someone who may be a little bit struggling right now with, being pumped up and motivated, maybe, life or business ain't treating them well and they need to, because you've been there.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And, what would you suggest that someone does to really sharpen their mind and get themselves in that right state?
Yeah. So most importantly, you have to have a reason to why you want to take your business to the next level, or why
Okay.
you're going to why you're going to sacrifice,
Okay.
and what you have to be willing to sacrifice. For me, it was waking up earlier every day,
Hmm.
because I wanted to make sure that I got my workouts in. I had to make sure I prepared my mind, my mentality. So, I mean, I actually followed your Success Mastery, I think it was, or whatever, the videos. And the first thing that I saw, video number one, was to write a vision letter.
Yeah, that's an elite sales mastery future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wrote my vision letter, and as I wrote it and I read it, I got really excited because I'm like, wow, I'm going to have this huge house.
Yeah.
And every time I would read that vision letter, it put me in a place of happiness. So
Yeah.
that was part of my morning routine, was to write my affirmations,
Yeah.
make a gratitude list.
Hmm.
So mutual person that Chadi I know used to do videos on reticular activator. I used to watch him, and I
Yep.
started following that advice, which is to write out, how much money I wanted to make and fill up a whole notebook page.
Yep.
And I'd write out my goals. Instead of focusing, Chadi used to do videos. He didn't tell me this, but I just watched everything he put out, all the content you put online, and followed it. And he used to say, write 3 things that made you happy the day before, and write down the 3 things that you want to focus on for the day. What are your 3 top goals? And I would do that. And it all works. It sounds like it's a lot, but it's not. I mean, this is a morning routine. Yeah.
Every day.
Yep.
Every day. I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is a morning routine that takes me literally half an hour. And then after that, and, really important, I know everybody wants to get sleep, and sleep is important, but you have to design your day where you're still going to get the sleep that you want. And at the same time, you're able to wake up early and get to bed certain times. So,
right.
Work is work, and you have to design your life around what you want to accomplish. So for me, it was a matter of waking up earlier and earlier. Right now, I wake up at 2:30 a.m. And the reason I do it is because it allows me to prepare myself mentally, prepare myself physically, so I'm able to get some really good workouts in the morning. And, for those of you who want to work out in the evening, you may run into a client that wants to go out at night and you miss your workout. So I'd say the most important thing is your mind, your body. Get those out of the way, because it's going to really prepare yourself for the rest of the day.
Right.
And at the same time, Chadi knows this. I used to work like crazy. So I'd work all day, come home, see my family very briefly, and go back to work in my home office. And that wasn't working for my family and for my wife. So the reason I wake up at 2:30 is because it also gives me about a half hour to an hour to catch up on work that I would have been doing at night. So now I can go home, put my kids to bed, I could go to sleep with my wife, and then catch up on whatever work early that morning. So instead of telling my clients, I'm going to get that to you by tonight, now I tell them by the time you wake up, it's going to be in your email.
Wow. I mean, to wake up at 2:30 a.m., I can't even fathom that. So, disclaimer, you don't have to wake up at 2:30 a.m. to do 100 transactions a year. That's just what he's choosing to do. But what I'm really taking out of it is that the level of commitment.
That's what I mean. That's my point.
It's the level of commitment. I mean, you're so committed, to your client, and not only just your clients, but for you to be with your family when you are with your family in the evenings, you're willing to do whatever it takes. That's what I call the whatever it takes attitude. The whatever it takes attitude. And I think you've developed that with all the things that you were doing every single morning. So would you agree with me? Okay, anyways, would you agree with me that if somebody wakes up at a specific time every single day, whatever that time is, if they just did some of the things that you do, like, their affirmations, write down the things they're grateful for, write down their personal goals, their income goal every single day, and things that made them happy in the last 24 hours, and they listen to positive audios, maybe read some, positive books, watch, some videos, like, the ones at EliteSalesMastery.com, they can check that out. Do you think that alone in itself, if somebody did that, how long would they need to do that before they begin to feel differently and act differently and perform differently and achieve differently?
That's a great question. You know what? I think it can happen right away, because I think a missing element, because you can write out all the affirmations you want. You can do your gratitude list, but I think one of the things I left out is you have to believe that by doing these things, you're going to get what you want out of life. So it does, I don't know if it's a little bit more spiritual, but you have to believe that the universe is going to give you what you want. So you're writing a gratitude list because you're saying how thankful you are.
Yeah.
Which is, it's going to believe that you have a great life.
Yeah.
If you look at yourself, you instead of looking at what you want or what a bad day you had, focus on the great things that you have in your life. It's going to change your mood. It's going to change your mood. It could be upset about something. It's going to put you in a happy point. I've had my car booted one day. It cost me a lot of money. And instead of getting upset about it, I couldn't do anything about it. So I'm like, great. I said, great. Great. My car got booted. Perfect. Let's move on. Let me get some deals done.
Yep. You're right. My car got booted. I got to pay to get it out. I might as well go find myself a deal, right?
Yeah. And it's the belief. It's the belief in yourself, the belief that if you work hard and you're committed, you may not see it right away, especially if you're a person that, like me, I have problems with immediate gratification. But
I think we all do.
Yeah. So you have to believe in it. You have to know that if you're doing the necessary steps day in and day out, eventually, whether it's sooner or later, you're going to have the life that you want to live.
Right. And I think, Sohail, how, one creates that belief system. I believe it is through really putting together that vision because,
Yeah.
now you see it. And now if you're reading your vision every single day, you begin to buy into it every single day. You get excited. See, as human beings, yeah, we want instant gratification, but I think the one thing that we are after constantly is always certainty. We want certainty. Look, you're
Yes.
either in a state of certainty or you're a state of uncertainty. When you're in a state of certainty, you're calm, you're relaxed, you're more confident. You go after what you want because there's certainty. When you're uncertain, that's when you get desperate, and that's where you get confused. That's where you feel overwhelmed, and that's where you really get stuck and don't take any action. And the key to getting out of the uncertainty part and moving to the certainty part is for you to create your own certainty by writing out your vision. And I think I've done a great video on that. At least I started a video on that in one of our past episodes of Real Estate Success Mastery TV. So I'll go ahead and link that in the show notes at shadybazzi.com. All right, so we've covered the skill set or the mindset part. Let's talk about skill set because that's something that you and I worked on a lot. Like in the beginning, I remember you used to call me like almost every single day and say, "Hey, how do you handle this objection? On how do you handle this objection? And how do you handle this objection?" By the
Right.
way, let's go ahead and tell everyone that this episode of Real Estate Success Mastery TV is sponsored by HandleThisObjection.com. So if you are someone out there that needs help with learning how to handle objections, make sure you check out handlethisobjection.com. So Sohail, for you, let's talk about skills. I mean, were you born with a natural set of skills? Is it something you had to develop? Why don't you tell everybody about how you develop the skill and what somebody can do to develop that skill as well too?
Yeah. So no, I wasn't born with it. I mean, it was really, I was taught really skill set by Chadi, and it's different skill sets. So it's not just, handling the objection. It's also how to talk to people, persuasive language patterns. It took a lot. It took a lot. I mean, literally at one time, our coaching Chadi was just on NLP and my
That's
calls.
it.
I mean, we didn't do anything other than that for months, if I
Yeah.
can recall.
No, that's what we did. See, what happened is we got you to be in a state of mind to where you were hungry and you were certain and you just wanted to go out there and take the action. So we
Yeah.
we got to the point where work ethic wasn't an issue. We got to the point where I didn't need to tell you to make your calls or pursue the business. It just that became like a natural part of who you are. So we really had to work on your effectiveness and your efficiencies. And the only way to become effective and efficient is to really master the skill. Do we want to talk to 50 people to set an appointment, or do we want to talk to 25 people to set an appointment? And that's why, the majority of our calls, like 80-90% of our calls were strictly like, what do you say? How do you say it? Etc. Okay. So how long did it take you to really begin to feel confident, not in yourself or what you were doing, but confident in your sales skill set?
It took me, I'd say again, probably about 6 months, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning it. As you know, Shadi, we had our first class today, another class for skill set, specifically neuro linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to continue to learn it for as much as I can because even if I know it, it's still always good to keep that going back to the basics and keeping your mind fresh on how you got there. But it took me about 6 months, and I didn't realize what was happening. All I know is one day I started implementing the skills, and I think because I used to make so many calls, I got better and better at it, more confident in the words that I was going to be using when I spoke with somebody on the phone.
Yeah.
I called you up. It was like magic.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I remember calling you up and saying, "I can't believe it."
I remember. You know what? I remember a story where you said, "Hey, Shadi, I called up this lady and she was so angry and
Yeah.
yelling at me. And then, 5 minutes later, I got an appointment with her." And you ended up going out there, listing her and getting the listing.
It was like magic coming out of my mouth. And the funny thing is, when I told you, it was like magic. You weren't surprised. You're like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, you don't understand. I understand." And you're like, "Yeah, I know. That's what's supposed to happen." And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I felt like almost everybody I talked to was like appointment. Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny that you say that because magic is something I believe in, and I'm not talking about like a deck of cards. I'm talking about like an unexplainable phenomenon, unexplainable, miraculous thing, etc. And it's so hard for people to fathom and believe when I tell them, look, it's just you do A, you do B, you do C, and one day you're just going to wake up and all of a sudden you're going to be talking differently, you're going to be moving differently, you're going to be thinking differently, and you're just going to be producing differently. Like for example, there's a lot of people watching this right now and or listening to this podcast who know exactly what it is that they need to be doing, yet they don't take the action. They can't get themselves to take the action. Okay. And I believe the reason that they can't get themselves to take the action is because of one of two things. It's either, the mindset or the skill set or a combination of both, like both of them combined. Okay. So, and I know now that you're talking about, the neuro linguistic program, and now you're going through it through the third time, correct? Third time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Third time.
Okay.
Oh, I'd say fourth because
you've done a lot on your own through the videos and stuff.
no, but just with you, I think the first time I did it wasn't even an NLP. I told you, I said, Chadi, I'm making my calls, and you said, Sohail, now we have to focus on the way that you're talking to people. So we made our coaching calls. It wasn't really a class. It was just my coaching calls became just fully based on NLP.
Yeah.
And then I did this is my third class. So it's my fourth time actually being trained on it.
Perfect. And because you're talking about it, and and I don't want to make this a commercial, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are gonna, how do I get this? How do I find out about this, etc. So for those of you who are interested in that, the only way that you can get involved in that class is for me to have a conversation with you. If I don't have a conversation with you first, because I'm very adamant about only working with people that really want to master the skill set, and not just people that want to be exposed to that. You could learn more about it by going to winninginfluence.com. Winning, like you, as in you are winning the game of life, winninginfluence.com is where you can go check it out.
You have to write down, you have to email me these websites.
Yeah.
You never told me about these.
I'm 100% committed to helping people out. So, right. I come up with them. And, to be, let me make a point right here. Okay, so let me tell you, I want to share something publicly. I think that one of the keys to success is taking quick actions. Okay? Yeah. In making quick decisions. Okay? And whenever you see an opportunity, you take advantage of it. That's one of the big keys to success. Winninginfluence.com, as of right now, as you and I speaking, doesn't even exist as we are recording this. Okay. But guess what? By the end of day today, like a day or two before we release this video, it will be up.
Okay.
Okay?
Cool.
So just taking, quick actions. And and I want to speak a little bit more about that, because there was somebody that sent me a text message about maybe 7, 8, 9 days ago and said, look, I overheard somebody saying that, they want to sell their home. Okay. And I'm like, okay, you overheard them. So what did you do? Well, I did nothing. I'm thinking about a way to speak to them. I'm like, all right, so go speak to them. Stop thinking, go speak to them. And by the time they went and spoke to them, it was already too late. That person had already listed with someone else and sold within 24 hours. That's why you got to take quick action. Okay, back to the skill set. Take it over. What else do you want to say about skills? Let's talk. Yeah, okay, so skills. So we did objection handling. Right. We worked on objection handling. Okay, do you feel like you can handle any objection by any buyer or any seller in any situation at any time right now?
I think that I have the mentality for it.
Uh-huh.
I'm still working on skill sets.
Well, you're gonna work on skill set for the rest of your life. We all are.
Rest of my life.
But are you afraid of any objection?
No.
Okay. So do you call them more expires, or do you call them more for sale by owners? Or
well, let me just one of the things I realized too is the objections. No matter what anybody says, doesn't mean what they mean. So whatever their objection is, you always taught me to affirm it and repeat it, and then you could take them to the next question you have. Right?
Can we, by the way, I do a lot of training on that at handlethisobjection.com. For you, can we just put you on the spot right now and give an example of that? So that's what I'm saying. Should I be an expired or for sale by owner, or what do you want me to be?
Whatever you want to be.
See, I love that. He said whatever you want to be. That's confidence. Okay, that right there is confidence. Okay, so hell, I'm an expired, and I'm just gonna say to you, you know what? Yeah, the kids already started school. It's mid-September right now. We got the holidays coming up. Why don't you just call me up in January?
Chadi, I hear what you're saying. Call you in January. And let me ask you this question. I see your home was in the market for 176 days.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, is there?
No, there's nothing wrong with my house.
Well, why do you think stopped it from selling?
I don't know. What do you think? You're the professional.
I haven't seen the house, and I'm not really sure. What did your last agent say?
They said it was the market.
Well, how'd you happen to pick your last agent, Chadi?
Oh, okay. So I see what we're doing. So now we're no longer dealing with the objection. Now you're just having a conversation with me, and you're making me realize that there's something wrong that you can obviously fix. Correct?
Right. I'm trying to take them out of. I'm trying to get them into conversation mode, which helps you overcome the objection.
Yeah.
So anybody can give you an objection. They could say, I'm not interested in selling, and you could say, I hear you. I know you're not interested in selling, but if you were interested in selling, where are you planning to move to?
Love it. Love it. Love it. And is this something that anyone can learn?
Yeah, as long as they commit, it's anything. It's just you learn what 2 plus 2 is.
Yeah.
And you learn what 2 times 2 is, and you learn what 2 divided by 2 is.
Yeah, and you learn how to tie your shoes.
You learn how to tie your shoes.
You learn how to walk.
You and I both learned how to tie a tie,
Yeah.
unless our wives tied before.
Okay, I like that. I have a trick for that, but we're not gonna. That's another episode.
It's a matter of no, it's a matter of having the right person teach you the right skills, and then practice. Right, practice, 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 practice. And that's why you told me just a second ago you're never going to stop learning. No, because I'm never going to stop practicing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Because every time you get to a level, you got to go to a next level. The next level requires a new skill, requires a new mindset. It requires overcoming a new obstacle and a new challenge, because those don't disappear as well too. There's just we keep on climbing the ladder. Right. Now, Sohail, is there anything that you just want to share without me asking you a question?
Yeah, you know what? I think this is one of the things I didn't say at practice. I just said practice, but really, when I say practice, I mean I used to drive in my car I practice NLP to myself. The sentences, the model operators, embedded commands, the tie downs. I mean, I would just formulate sentences, drive doing that. I would practice it on my wife. Eventually she caught on because she's like, but I would practice it on everybody. I would practice it on people on my team. I would practice it on people I run into. And you used to tell me, Chadi, the goal is to make it part of your everyday language where you're not even realizing that you're using it.
Yeah.
You just do it so well that's how you talk now.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but I was starting to realize quickly that I can get there, and it was going to take a lot of practice and a lot of commitment. And I've taken leaps and bounds from where I started, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 100%. I mean, we went from, like doing 3 real estate transactions to getting up to like the 60, 70 transaction mark in the first 12 months, right?
Yeah.
Which is considered a quantum leap.
It was a quantum leap. And I'll tell you, I think the first 6 months, it was really just within a 6-month period. Because the first 6 months was me still trying to figure it out. And then when I finally got that first appointment and I started doing the NLP and I started everything came together at once, I think, because once you start seeing results, that's when you get really excited.
Yeah.
And then you want to do more and more. And it all kind of came together after, a really hard 6 months.
Yeah.
I finally started realizing, okay, I got an appointment. I just got to repeat the same thing.
Right.
And I got to be more confident.
Right. And so I say the difference between you and a lot of people out there is that a lot of people would have given up inside of the first 6 months.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. You didn't have a choice, and you had a vision.
I had faith in you, and I had people who introduced us had faith in you. So, I was committed to doing what you told me to do, even though it took me 6 months, because you used to tell me, don't do rentals. And for 6 months, I was still running myself trying to do a rental, and I was slowly transitioning to sales. And now, I don't want to jump ahead of everybody else, but now I'm at the point where it's like, I don't work with buyers. I mean, of course you have to build yourself to this point, but now I focus just on listings. And Chadi told me a long time ago, you're going to be focusing on listings. And I didn't get it, because I'm like, this person wants to buy, a $500,000 house. How could I not work with them? But now I see what you're saying, because the amount of time you spend in an effort into working with a buyer who you're going to take out many different times, show them many houses, you could get 10 $500,000 or $1 million homes listed on the market.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I want to go back to the whatever it takes mentality that you had. I remember one time, I think you were calling on an expired, and it was a multi-million-dollar expired,
Yeah.
and you know that's not normal for you in your marketplace. And the guy's like, "Hey, you want to see me? You come see me. I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that? And you're in Chicago.
Yeah. I'm in Chicago.
What'd you tell the guy? I don't know.
Well, I called you. He responded to my email, which I
Yeah.
couldn't believe. And so I called you and I said, what should I say to him? And you helped me formulate an email back to him. And he said, well, I'm in Florida. And I said, I'll come to Florida. And that's what I did. I flew down to Florida. This is a $6 million house in a very exclusive area out here in Chicago. And I flew down to Florida. He even sent the limo to pick me up. I mean, it was a really neat experience. I learned a lot from it because I think that I didn't have to go to Florida, but I wanted to show him my commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that I flew down there was him realizing, wow, this guy really, either believes like he can sell my house or he's really committed to selling my house. But yeah.
And didn't you end up doing business with his son or something like that in Chicago? Or
yeah. Then his son called me and said he wanted to buy a commercial space for a restaurant, and his budget was $2 million. So yeah, it was it worked out. I worked with his son. We didn't find him a spot. He found a spot on his own by owner, but he still gave me a small commission just for the time and effort I put into it, which wasn't much. It was about a week of
perfect. But more important than anything, it was the learning experience.
The learning experience was great. And now, here we are over a year later, and I'm realizing now that I didn't have to fly down there. If I would have had better skill set,
Yeah.
I would have picked up the phone, I would have called him up, and I would have told him that he's going to list his house with me. And he may not realize it by now, but if he wants to get his home sold, he has to do the right thing and list his house with me.
Exactly. All right. What about as far as audio programs? I'm big on, I always say big learners are big earners. Audio programs. Is there one audio program that you listen to that you want to recommend to everyone out there or no?
I listen to you. I started listening. I finally got that Stitcher downloaded, and I listen to your stuff while I work out. And because I see you liking, I guess it's Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, so I listen to that now quite often. I listen to some books on audio. These are all from you. Magic and Believing.
Magic and Believing, yes. Must.
Now I'm listening to the Magic and Big Thinking.
Yes.
I listen to a lot of what's that guy's name? Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I listen to some of his stuff.
So you're always feeding your mind.
Yeah, and I read a lot.
Okay, what's one book that you would recommend that everybody go out there, pick up sometime in the next 7 days and read it in the next 14 days? What would that one book be?
Oh, God, there's a lot of good ones. Here, hold on. Let me just look at my Nook real quick here on my phone.
All right.
Just so I can see. There's some good books. So these are pretty good books. One's more spiritual but I read it. It's fantastic. It's 10% Happier. Be Your Own Brand is another real good one. Search Inside Yourself. Of course, everybody knows Think and Grow Rich. If you don't know it, then you need to learn it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that should be your Bible. Read that
exactly.
every day. 7 Levels of Communication.
Yeah, that's a lot of books right there. One book. Pick one out of all of them right now. Just one.
Okay. One of my favorites is Soft Selling in the Hard World.
Excellent book. Definitely highly recommend it. Read that first time probably about 10, 11 years ago and read it numerous times. Made a huge impact in my sales career as well, too. So that right there is a very, very, very good book to read. Okay, so Sohail.
It's a great book is because, if you go back to skill set, again, it teaches you how to approach people in selling.
Okay, so Sohail, we hit mindset, we hit skill set. Let's hit for the next, quickly, couple of minutes, hit lead generation.
Sure.
Where do you get the majority of your listings from?
Expires and cancels.
Okay.
I'm ashamed to say I actually don't hit my my past clients and center of influence as much as I'd like to, and right now I'm trying to get a better CRM so I can get focused on it. I'm trying to follow up with 5 past clients every day.
Yeah.
But I'd say 80% of my business is from cancels and expireds and FSBOs. I took 2 in the last 2 weeks. I've taken 2 FSBOs.
Good.
Rather easily, actually. I didn't have to even have a conversation with them. They just said, "Yeah, come over." And I'm being more selective. So now I'm at the point. I think before Chadi, I was just trying to get listings, and now I'm actually focused on pre-qualifying them more, which I didn't do in the past. I was just so excited to get a listing. So again, it's going from one phase to another because you're learning, you're growing, and I went from the phase just to get a listing, then to try and get as many listings as I can. Now I'm realizing that I got to get quality and really take the listings that I know are going to sell.
Yeah.
So now I'm focused on, I do a lot of pre-qualify now instead of just running out and getting a listing. And the other thing, Chadi, this is again going to mindset and confidence. So before, I used to just take the listing and tell the seller what they wanted to hear because I was, wet behind the ears. Now I focus on telling them what they need to hear, why I'm the expert, and why they should listen to me and hire me to sell their house.
Yes. That's, and you had to work through that. You had to prove to yourself that you can get the listing. Now that you proved yourself to get the listing, now you're just correcting. That's what we're talking about, always learning, always progressing. Excellent. Quick question for you. What's the most amount of listings you've taken in 1 month?
Maybe 20 plus.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Wow. And when I first met you like two and a half plus years ago, did you ever think that you'd do 20 plus listings in 1 month?
I probably didn't think I'd do 20 listings the whole year. That's
awesome, man. Well, hey, I love that smile on your face because you really deserve this. I mean, you've earned it. It didn't happen overnight. You've pushed through it and you made it happen. So I congratulate you with that, and I applaud you with that. You're an amazing person, and I couldn't have chosen a better person this week to do an episode with than you. So I want to thank you very much, for your, your belief in my systems and what I can do to help you out. You actually, went out there, executed it, and proven it to work. So it's more you than it is me, and I want you to get that. It's more you because for me it's just a message. For you, it's taking the message and running with it and making it happen.
I appreciate that. I mean, everybody has it inside themselves, but they need. Everybody needs
someone to just unleash it out.
You need someone to extract out the confidence, extract out the commitment and the skill set. And it's true. You need, if you don't believe in yourself, you need someone that's going to help you and get you to the point where you can start doing the things that you want to do, the business that you want to have, achieve the things that you want to achieve.
Yeah. All right. So we're not gonna. I'm not gonna hold you up for any longer than I did. So I know there's, how can people connect? Can people connect with you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, spell your name for people to.
My name is spelled, my first name is Sohail, spelled S as in Sam, O as in ostrich, H as in Henry, A as in apple, I as in interest, L as in Larry. Last name is Salahuddin, which is S as in Sam, A as in apple, L as in Larry, A as in apple, H as in Henry, U as in umbrella, 2 D's as in dog, I as in interest, N as in Nancy. And I do say that in about every phone call that I make. I have to repeat that.
Oh my! All right. So my what I want to say is, if anyone has any referrals for you in the Chicago area, I highly endorse that he will do an excellent job for your buyers and sellers and make you look very good. So if someone's got a referral for you and they want to connect with you and send you the referral, what should they do? Should they send it to you via Facebook, via email? What should they do?
They can email me, Sohail at sohailrealestate.com, or call me. You can call area code 847-899-4815, and that's my office. Whatever, if I'm not there, the message will get to me immediately. So those are the 2 best ways to reach me.
Awesome. Any final words of wisdom? Anything you want to say to be complete?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing, if you were to focus on, if you wanted to create a better life for yourself, it starts with mindset.
Yeah.
Then it goes to skills. Well, actually, mindset. Then it goes to skill set, and then it goes to making the commitment to perform the skill set. and then you could grow your business. So mindset, skill set, and commit.
Awesome. Well, hey, congratulations on all the successes you've done. Thank you very much for your support and for you giving of yourself to our thousands of listeners on this podcast. So thank you very much for that. And for everyone that's watching us, thank you very much for your listening. I really, really, really appreciate your support for what we do here at Success Mastery, Real Estate Success Mastery TV. My number one commitment is to give you as much value as I possibly can on every single episode. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to shadybazzi.com or wherever you're viewing this, and I want you to let us know by leaving a comment right below that video. What is your big takeaway? What is the one thing that you took away from this, episode that you're going to apply in your business immediately, and then keep us posted and let us know how it's working out for you. Really, really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next episode real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Everybody, thanks.